Hi there, this is Jesse with OEM Auto Parts Co. The tools required for installation will be some plastic panel removal tools. You could also use plastic putty knives or a wide flathead screwdriver. You're going to need some kind of pliers. Household pliers will work fine. You're going to need wire cutters or side cutters to cut a zip tie, and a 7mm socket. You could use that on a ratchet or some kind of driver. In the next step, I'll be showing you how to remove the radio. Now we will be removing the factory radio from a 2011 GMC Yukon with the Bose sound system. You want to start by prying off on the top of the bezel, working your way down along the side of the radios. There will be 4 clips along each side and 1 clip on the bottom. With the 7mm socket, you will want to remove the 8 bolts, 4 on each side of the radio. You want to start with the 2 bottom ones and remove the accessory tray. The next 2 up, remove the AC climate unit, and then the 4 to remove the radio. Now that we have all the bolts out, we're going to remove the accessory tray, remove the AC climate control, and remove the radio. Now we will be removing the connections from the back of the radio. You'll start by the antenna connection, pulling the black shroud around it, and it will pop out. The USB connection, on 2010 vehicles and up, most of them have them. You want to start by putting your panel key on the little metal tab and pulling it right out. The 2 other connections are just a little clip on top and they slide right out. We will now be installing the Rosen into the dash of a GMC 2011 Yukon. Some of the first things you will need to do for installation will be remove the 2 Phillips head screws that hold the CD mechanism in place. If you don't remove these screws, you won't be able to insert a CD. You'll also need to take the GPS antenna and attach it to the dash plate. I will show you how to install this in the dash in just a minute. If you wish to use the iPod cable, you'll need to run this to your glove box or to your center console. I'll be running it to the glove box. Now we will be installing the GPS antenna. You're going to need to remove the front dash plate to do so. In some vehicles, the A-pillar will have to be removed, as in this case. You want to start by removing the 7mm screw cover and removing the 7mm screw. You want to pull back the weather stripping along the A-pillar and slightly pull out, then up on the A-pillar to remove it. Some models have a tweeter. You'll want to disconnect this wire. Now you will want to remove the dash plate. To do so, you'll want to start from the driver's side, working your way over to the passenger side. You'll want to insert your panel tool underneath the dash plate by the clips and push up. Then grab your GPS antenna plate, lift up the dash plate, and you'll see the location where the GPS antenna is inserted. It sits in there and 1 clip retains it. You'll want to route your GPS wires around the defroster vents down to behind the radio. When routing the GPS antenna wire, you will want to be sure to come through the lower opening of the radio bay. If you run the wire anywhere else, you risk pinching it and damaging it. Once you have finished running the wires for your GPS antenna, you'll want to be sure, once again, to make sure it's not interfering with the defroster and reattach the dash plate. Once your dash plate is secure, you'll want to reinstall the A-pillar. If your A-pillar has a tweeter, you will want to reconnect this now. Once your tweeter is connected, you'll want to make sure the lower tabs on the A-pillar line up with the dash. Push down and then over to lock your A-pillar into place. You'll want to reinsert your 7mm screw, replace your screw cover, reinstall your weather stripping, and your GPS antenna is installed. You'll need to pull down the glove box and depress the glove box release mechanism on the top. The glove box will fold right down. Once you have the glove box down, you want to take your cable and run it into the glove box. Once you have that done, you can set the iPod cable inside the glove box and begin installing the radio. We will now be installing our Rosen entertainment system. You'll want to locate the 4 molded connectors and plug them into your factory connectors. This vehicle only has 2, one for power, one for speaker. If your vehicle has a rear entertainment and a reverse camera, you will use the other 2 connectors. Once you have those 2 connected, you can tuck this cable away a little bit and start on connecting the iPod cable, if you ran it, the GPS antenna, and the AM/FM antenna. Once you have those connected, you can further tuck the wires away in the dash. And install the radio and reinsert the factory screws. Now that you have your Rosen head unit installed, you'll want to make sure that everything is functioning correctly. You'll want to check the AM/FM radio. If you have Sirius radio, you'll want to make sure the Sirius tuner is working correctly. You want to make sure, if you have an iPod cable, if you chose to use it, you want to make sure that the iPod cable works correctly. CD and DVD. If your unit does not take a CD right away, you'll want to make sure that the 2 screws on the top of the radio were removed. You'll also want to check to see if the SD card's working, if you choose to play music through an SD card. You'll also have a USB port here. The kit comes with a cable that plugs in here and has a female USB connector. You can charge your phone or use it as a flash drive. You'll also want to make sure that navigation feature is working correctly. Once that's done, you may begin using your new navigation unit.